He was the most electrifying actor of his generation, a rebellious icon who changed Hollywood forever. But hidden behind Marlon Brando's fame, fortune, and brooding good looks was a secret so deeply buried, almost no one noticed it, until it was far too late. What really haunted Brando behind closed doors? The truth is more heartbreaking than anyone expected. Marlon Brando was the embodiment of raw, magnetic power. From a streetcar named Desire to The Godfather, he wasn't just an actor, he was a cultural force. His performances were visceral, his presence revolutionary, and his influence eternal. But behind that intensity was a man quietly unraveling, battling personal demons that even his closest friends struggled to understand. For decades, the world watched his brilliance on screen, never realizing the depth of the storm brewing within. While the public admired Brando for his effortless charisma, few knew how tormented he was by emotional isolation. Long before the tragic headlines and reclusive final years, Brando had already begun retreating from the world emotionally. He wasn't just enigmatic, he was deeply wounded. Haunted by a traumatic childhood filled with neglect and abuse, Brando learned to wear charm like armor. His father was cold and cruel, his mother loving but tragically alcoholic. Acting became his escape, a way to channel pain into power. But once the cameras stopped rolling, the hurt never really left. Throughout his career, Brando often self-sabotaged. He rejected Hollywood norms, feuded with directors, gained and lost massive amounts of weight, and disappeared for months at a time. Many chalked it up to his rebellious spirit, but those close to him now say it was something darker, a man at war with himself, exhausted by a world that never truly understood him. Even as he won accolades, including 2 Academy Awards, Brando remained deeply skeptical of fame and openly critical of the film industry, calling it a meat grinder. But perhaps the most heartbreaking revelation came later in life, after personal tragedies struck him in rapid succession. In 1990, his son Christian was involved in a fatal shooting, and years later, his daughter Cheyenne took her own life. The grief was unbearable. Brando, once so commanding and defiant, became a recluse, rarely leaving his home and refusing most interviews. Friends say he carried enormous guilt, believing he had failed as a father. It was in those years that many finally realized just how broken he had become. Yet despite the anguish, there was always brilliance. Even in his later years, Brando remained a powerful figure, funny, self-aware, and deeply philosophical. He would talk for hours about politics, art, and the human condition, often surprising people with his depth. He knew he was misunderstood and had made peace with it in his own quiet way. But the tragedy lies in the fact that the world only began to see his pain clearly when it was too late, when the lights had dimmed and the icon had retreated into silence. Today, fans are revisiting Brando's legacy not just to admire his roles, but to understand the man behind them. His vulnerability, long overshadowed by his swagger, now feels like the most powerful part of his story. In many ways, Brando wasn't just ahead of his time in acting, he was a warning about what happens when a sensitive soul is trapped in the spotlight for too long. What's your favorite Marlon Brando performance, and do you think the world truly appreciated him while he was alive? Let us know in the comments. And if this deep look into Brando's hidden truth resonated with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more untold Hollywood stories. Marlon Brando may have left us, but the pain he carried and the genius he shared still echoes through every frame he ever touched.